So it's really good to be here. It's really wonderful to see so many colleagues who have pitched up. I was looking around and saying that it's always great to come to the campus meetings because we are able to bring together executives on the one hand, our academic leaders and staff on the other hand, and we're able to bring together on these occasions our professionals and support staff. And so there's no hierarchy in these conversations. And so it's always a wonderful occasion to talk and to listen. And to hear the issues that preoccupy us as a collective, because they preoccupy you. And of course, as Dr. Manyaka has indicated, okay, I've just said we're all even, right? So as Joe has indicated, no doctor, right? As Joe has reminded us, this is a particular special occasion. And so I'm interested to see how many of us on the left-hand side have been here 10 years or more. Pagam? Stand up for me so we can see you. Please stand up. Yeah? Just this side for now. Just this side. 10 years and more. 10 years exactly, and 10 years and more. I mean, isn't this wonderful? Let's give them a round of applause, eh? And on this side, please feel free to show us by standing up and confidently. Yes, how's that? Huh? All right, thank you as well. Now, those of us who have been here for 5 weeks, please don't feel left out, right? I just want us to get a feel, because I'm going to pick on some of those colleagues later as we talk, because it's an opportunity today for us, and in the days that lie ahead, in the year that lies ahead, or what's left of it, for us to find time to be in conversation about this journey that we have traveled. Those of us who are beginning the journey are keen to hear from those of us who have been slightly longer than them in the journey, and we're keen to hear from those who have been even much longer on this journey, to hear about your experiences and your insights, the challenges and the opportunities that you grasped. And so this is a special year then for us, in which we both celebrate, we reflect therefore. As we celebrate, we pause to reflect on this journey. But of course, as we reflect on this journey, we gather ourselves as we look ahead to the journey in front of us. As we often remark, drawing on Nelson Mandela's many observations and reflections, that as a young man, as a young boy, I guess, herding sheep, he was reminded every time, there are many chairs over here, right next to me especially, he is reminded that every time that you reach the top of a mountain there in the Transkei, you look behind yourself and you look at the journey traveled. But you're only able to pause very briefly before you look ahead to the mountains that lie in front and the valleys that of course precede those mountains. And so it's an opportunity for us this year then to pause, to reflect, to celebrate, to ask difficult questions, to answer them to the best of our abilities, and to think about the journey that lies ahead. The suggestion in management theory is that what got us here won't get us there. What got us through the first decade is the suggestion will be inadequate to get us through the next decade. And so our journey, our collective journey as this community, as part of a bigger community of this University of Johannesburg, our journey is that journey. It is a little different from our journeys as individuals and as families and as communities. It is important to find time to celebrate, to find those moments, and to gather to celebrate our accomplishments as individuals, those of our families, our communities now, our societies, our nation. But it's also opportunity to reflect on what got us to where we, or at least where we have reached. And so I thought that I would pause very briefly myself to reflect on that before we encourage colleagues to share with us your own journeys. Okay, maybe not immediately the 5-week journey, right? Not immediately. In time. But the 2-year journey, the 5-year journey, the 8-year journey, the 10-year journey, that has brought us to where we are. And so, as I said last week at the academic opening, ours has been a tumultuous and a challenging journey. But we have prevailed. Oh yes, prevailed we have. And so today we stand, as I said again last week, amongst great universities. We are counted amongst great universities. And we are constantly ourselves contributing to the meaning, what is a great university? By challenging ourselves, and certainly where I speak, on global forums, as I will this year, many forums, I will argue, I will make the case that a truly great university is one that is embracing of all in our society, not just through lip service, but in substance. Not through a vision statement, but in practice. As I've remarked before, the greatest challenge that the world confronts is the fact that, you saw this, the most recent stats, the fact that 1% of the world's population, I'm still trying to find a more diplomatic word, but 1% of the super rich in the world, they don't live off, but okay, let's be diplomatic. They live off, and they live with 50% of the world's wealth. The next group, the super rich, the next 19%, throw them into the top 1%, and 95% of the world's wealth is in the hands of that group of 20%. What's the relevance for us of that fact? The relevance for us, I believe, is that universities are the prime targets of the super rich and the super rich. Prime targets to, what is that nice English word? prime target institutions to take control of. Can't get that nice word now. To take their offspring and those who are similar to them through those institutions at the expense and at the cost of the poor, especially the poor, especially the blue-collar working class, especially the lower middle classes. And so we will continue as we evolve into the future to make a contribution to that conversation about what it is to be a truly great university. Yes, fantastic research, wonderful teaching and programs. But is that the test of a great university? Is the test of a great university how many students you exclude? Is the test of a great university how many young people must apply to your institution? Is the test of a great university how many of your graduates become CEOs and occupy the corner offices? Is that the true test of a great university? Or is it demonstrating day in, day out how we as this collective are transforming the life and the opportunities and the possibilities, yes, of the super rich and the super rich, but also equally of the lower middle classes and the blue-collar working class and of the poor in our nation. And again, you saw the latest statistics showing that poverty is on the march, even more so in the last 4 years here in our own country. From 20%, 1 in 5 living below the poverty line. And do you know what that poverty line is? You know what that poverty line is? How we measure it? I think in current rands, it's about 430 rands a month. What can you do with 430 rands a month? And if there are 6 of you, okay, multiply that with 6. What can you do with 2,400 rands odd a month? Small wonder then that the 21.4% who live below the poverty line in our nation find themselves trapped in the worst schools, find themselves trapped such that they have no option but being subjected to the worst schooling in our nation. Small wonder that those who are able to finance 200,000 rands per child at a St. John's College or at a Hilton College are able to get the results that enables them to get into a UCT. It is that conversation that we need to make much more evident and deliberate about who we are becoming, and how we are redefining the meaning of a great university. Last year, 21% of our first year class of just over 11,000 came from schools serving the poorest of the poor in our nation. Not by chance, but because of our effort, because of our determination to secure opportunities, but also success for the poorest amongst us. This is the legacy that we are building of this institution, of outstanding research, of great contributions to teaching and learning, but ultimately about transforming the life opportunities of all in our nation and of transforming the opportunities of our nation. And so today I can go down a list of extraordinary accomplishments to demonstrate that we've prevailed, to demonstrate to the cynics and the skeptics that all they need to do is to look at the evidence. The evidence is there for us all to see. Who would have imagined that 10 years in, that the law program at this university is ranked amongst the top 200 programs in the world? Who would have imagined that the education program at this university would be ranked amongst the top 200 programs across the world? And I can go down that list. Who would have imagined? Who would have imagined that 27% of all black chartered accountants come out of this university and are flourishing in their careers? Who would have imagined that 10 years ago and more recently in 2009, when we were struggling with the output of our public school system, in particular the new National Senior Certificate, when our module completion rates for first years was sitting at 66%, and we were scratching our heads? Who would have imagined that first year module completion rate last year would have risen to 82%, and that undergraduate module completion rates now sits at 84.5%? Who would have imagined that? That you expect of a UCT, apparently, not of a UJ. This is only a short list of extraordinary accomplishments, of research that has tripled in a decade, of us being host to many National Research Foundation chairs and hosting a Center of Excellence. And so even the cynics and the skeptics have to stand back and pose the question, how the heck has this been possible? It's been possible because of us. It's been possible because of the extraordinary efforts of each one of us. Those who were there at the beginning and those who are joining us today. Extraordinary efforts, great ambition, desire to accomplish for self, for our community, for our nation. Belief, hope, confidence. At graduation ceremonies, I often speak about the true character of a UJ graduate, and today of the true character of a UJ staff member. What is that character? I pose the question. What is that character? And therefore, who are we as this collective? What's our identity? What defines us? It is the ability, with resolve, to face extraordinary challenges and to prevail. Not only to prevail as we have prevailed, but to accomplish simply extraordinary things. That is our character. A character of resolve. A character of facing up to the challenge. A character of grit. A character to overcome. Not to do so in a manner that is arrogant, but in a manner that is often understated, in a manner that is humble, because we know that tomorrow is ahead of us. And so we have accomplished extraordinary things because of who we are becoming. Not because of anyone else's effort, but our effort. And despite the cynics and the skeptics. This year we will graduate close to 12,000 students again. Men and women who will be transforming this nation and the region and the continent and the world when we are long gone. And so whether we look at our research contributions, at the manner in which we're influencing our nation and beyond, whether we look at the impact that we make in our community. Last Saturday, together with colleagues here, I was celebrating with the team at the Soweto Science Center just 5 years and what they've accomplished in 5 years. And we had 3,000 or so young people and their parents and other leaders in society gathered there to celebrate this extraordinary accomplishment. And why is it extraordinary? We work with 1,000 young people improving their math and science every week during the school holidays. And their grades move from D's and C's to A's. And there are several of them who got up and spoke about this change that this UJ, Soweto Science Center, is making in their lives. One young woman who was the top rural matriculant last year with 7 distinctions in a home language, Chivenda, was a worst at 89%, Professor Marwala. 93 for math, 93 for science, blah, blah, blah. And she spoke of how she started as a 50% student and how this is transformed. And I pick on just one example. I could have picked on 30 other examples of how we are transforming day in, day out, possibilities, opportunities, life. And this is the wonderful thing of working in this place of ours, is the tangible, visible things, the evidence. And so we've accomplished magnificently, extraordinarily. And it is because of our efforts. It is not despite our efforts, it's because of our efforts. Along the road, we have stumbled. As this young woman with the 7 distinctions put it when she spoke last Saturday. You know, when you stumble, you fall. Nobody lies down. A simple truth. As she said, nobody lies down. All you do is you pick yourself up, you dust yourself off, and you face again the facts in front of you. And that is our story. Yes, we stumbled. Who would have thought that we would have recovered as we have recovered from the stampede just behind us, the tragedy just behind us, and turned that tragedy of one of our own alumni, turn it into a victorious, a celebratory outcome, a transformatory outcome for this institution of ours. So yes, there are many things that remain to be done. Yes, there are many things that remain to be done, but accomplished and prevail we have. And so today is really then just that moment to pause. Of course, it's part of a longer conversation, which I hope we will have in our divisions, in our teams, in our departments, in our schools, in our faculties. Conversations about what does this mean? Yes, there we can talk the facts, but what does it actually mean? And what does it mean for the journey ahead? but more about that journey ahead on another occasion. Today is simply about saying, when you believe, when you have ambition, when you focus, and when you are resolved, just look what you can accomplish. And just look at us, what we have accomplished. So yes, 10 years. I was bold last week to say 10 years we've come of age. We're not the baby Joe. We've come of age. We're no more toddler. We're no tween, please. We are a young adult, at least. We've come of age as the University of Johannesburg. 10 years was enough to accomplish what we have accomplished. Yes, much lies ahead, but let's leave that for another day. So on that note, ngiyabonga kakhulu. Ndithi inkosi. Ndithi riyalaboa. Bye donkey. We have accomplished. Siyabonga, siyabonga.
The University of Johannesburg. Rethink, reinvent.